given what we've seen in the last 7.5 years, where evangelicals have been under constant attack and marginalization by the policies of Barack Obama, that is a message that gives hope to many evangelicals. And so I think this is the bottom line, Sandy. A conversation began today. This is part of a process, and I think you're going to see many people watching more closely his campaign. But here's what I hope comes out of this, is that he listens even more so to evangelical social conservative leaders and others that can give him input on policy. He doesn't, he's not well studied in the policy. That's not what he's done in his adult life. And so he needs good people around him. So I'm hoping that there'll be those that come around him that can help him develop a more, stable, faith-friendly platform that, in the end, will, in fact, help America be great again.
Tony, you know that there's been a great division among Christians during this primary season and over the nomination of Donald Trump. And you and I both know people, and we all do, everyone listening to me knows people who are polar opposites on this particular issue. And many of them in a quandary or even just decidedly never going to vote for Donald Trump. Do you sense that any minds were changed today as a result of this meeting?
Well, first off, most of the people that were in that room were undecided. They were not, there were some that came with the campaign that were already supporting Donald Trump. There were none that were openly antagonistic and, saying that they would never vote for him, because that was not the process. That was not the purpose of this meeting. It was not to have a showdown or anything like that. It was literally a legitimate attempt to try to bridge the gap that exists between us. I do think, I know from conversations with people as I was leaving, that there was a good, productive meeting in which they're beginning to feel more comfortable, and I think that they feel that that they're hopeful they may be able to support him. I will tell you where I am at. I have not decided what I'm going to do. I'm not going to vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm going to vote for Donald Trump because that's going to be really the two options that we have. Now, will I actively support him and work for him, to help him? I don't know. That's yet to be decided. There's several factors to look at. But I think we need to be very prayerful going into this election. And there's two choices. There's Hillary Clinton and there's Donald Trump. We know what Hillary Clinton will do. We don't know exactly what Donald Trump will do, but we can help kind of shape a course forward.
Tony, when you open the phone lines or talk to people, the listeners at American Family Radio and Bot Radio Network, which is your coverage area, and some other stations, if you have the experience that I do, the tempers really flare. And people say to me, people are actually quite upset with me when I say to them, as you just said, that the choice today is a new day. The options are not what they were. And so we have to think about what the reality is and make a judgment accordingly. And I always talk about Sophie's choice, where she had to choose between her two children. Either both were going to be killed or she chose that one would live. And that's pretty dramatic, but really, for some Christians, voting for Donald Trump is something like that. You know that as the opposition research, the layers are peeled back on that, we're going to learn some really things that are going to be very hard to hear. We're going to hear things about Melania and her modeling before she was a mother. We're going to probably see pictures. We're going to have all kinds of things that are going to offend the sensibilities of evangelicals. What perspective can you give, knowing that this is indeed what's going to be happening? His marriages, the women in his life, all of these things which are distasteful to evangelicals. How should people view all of that in the light of this election?
A really good question, Sandy, that I'm going to have to unpack in the weeks ahead. But let me just very briefly state that, first off, I respect everyone's opinion. I agree with those who have said, never Trump under no circumstance. I'm just going to stay home. I don't think we should stay home. I don't agree with that. I think we do have to shape the process and the future of our country with what we have to work with. I'm not excited about this. I got involved, as you know, in the primary. I openly endorsed, as an individual, Ted Cruz, and I campaigned for him. I traveled the country for him because I believed in his message. I know him. I share the same worldview with him. I thought that, and I still believe, that he was what America needs. I don't have that choice anymore. So now I've got to I say, all right, what can I do given what I have to work with? And so this is not something that I relish, that I am excited about. But from a pragmatic standpoint, I think there's opportunity. And let me just say this about Donald Trump and what I've seen, that he does seem to be open, teachable. Has he made past mistakes? Without question. And I'm not going to try to rationalize those. Has he made choices I disagree with? Absolutely, without question. But how is he going to go forward? That's the whole thing about, I shared today in a press conference about evangelical Christianity. Our view is always looking forward under the grace of God if we acknowledge that we have done wrong. And I'm hoping that, personally and from the standpoint of, even his campaign, that he, walks in that grace that is available, but cast a vision forward for America that evangelicals can rally around. I do not think you can win this election by scaring people with what America would look like under Hillary Clinton. You have got to cast a vision. I think there are those that can come alongside him and help him cast a vision that moves America back to a country that honors God again, and therefore would be a recipient of his blessing.